Have you ever wondered what would happen if one of the most beautiful Corvettes ever built was given the engineering, power, and refinement of a modern supercar without losing the soul that made it legendary? Imagine a classic Stingray with breathtaking curves, stretched even wider, nearly 500 horsepower under the hood, razor-sharp handling, and an interior crafted like a bespoke luxury machine. It sounds impossible, yet that is exactly what this incredible Chevrolet Corvette delivers. This is not just another restored C2, it is not simply a Restomod either. It is a complete reinvention that respects the past while embracing the future in ways Chevrolet itself never attempted. Every detail has been carefully engineered to create something familiar, yet entirely new. From its aggressive stance to its modern chassis, from its classic-inspired engine bay to its handcrafted cabin, this Corvette proves that legends do not have to remain frozen in time. They can evolve, become stronger, faster, and even more desirable. Today, we are taking an in-depth look at one of the most remarkable wide-body Corvette builds ever created, a machine that blends heritage, innovation, and craftsmanship into one unforgettable driving experience. At first glance, it immediately captures attention with proportions that seem both familiar and dramatically enhanced. While the car is titled as a 1965 Corvette because it retains its original birdcage, the exterior wears a beautifully crafted 1967 body, built by Veta Industries using one of their brand new GM licensed shells. These bodies are produced with superior molds and advanced tooling resins while retaining factory-correct mounting points, ensuring exceptional fit, strength, and long-term durability. That foundation matters enormously because it means this build is not chasing fragile vintage fiberglass. It is starting from a shell engineered to modern standards while preserving every line that made the C2 an icon. What truly transforms its appearance is the custom wide-body design. Measuring 3 inches wider than a factory Stingray, the body exaggerates every muscular curve that made the original C2 famous. The wider stance does not merely improve visual drama, it creates room for significantly larger wheels, modern performance tires, and advanced suspension components capable of delivering handling that belongs in the 21st century rather than the 1960s. Walk around the car and you can see how the fender flares flow naturally into the original body lines, as though Chevrolet itself had signed off on the transformation decades ago. The finish is equally breathtaking. Deep black paint flows seamlessly across every panel with a mirror-like gloss that reflects light from every angle, shifting subtly as the sun moves across the bodywork. Contrasting against the dark exterior is a bold red Stinger hood, paying tribute to Corvette heritage while adding unmistakable visual impact. Chrome side pipes provide the unmistakable performance attitude enthusiasts expect, growling with promise even while the car sits parked. Detroit's speed headlights introduce modern precision without disrupting the timeless styling, blending seamlessly into the fenders as if they belonged there from the very beginning. Perhaps the most distinctive visual feature sits beneath the wheel arches. Custom one-off 36-spoke turbine-style knockoff wheels measure 19 inches at the front and 20 inches at the rear. Wrapped in Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tires, sized 245 over 40 ZR19 in front, and massive 345 over 30 ZR20 at the rear, they provide extraordinary grip while cleverly recreating the appearance of classic redline tires. The result perfectly bridges vintage inspiration with contemporary performance, giving the Corvette a planted, purposeful stance that photographs beautifully from every angle and performs even better once the road opens up. Even the identity of the car has evolved. Instead of wearing the traditional Stingray script across the rear deck, this build proudly displays a custom Megalodon emblem executed in authentic factory style. Inspired by the legendary Mako shark concept that helped shape Corvette history, the badge gives this extraordinary widebody its own unmistakable personality, while honoring the design legacy that inspired its creation. It is a small detail, but it speaks volumes about the philosophy behind this build. Nothing here is generic, and nothing was left untouched without purpose. Beneath that stunning bodywork lies a chassis and suspension package built to match the visual drama with genuine performance capability. The factory-correct birdcage may trace back to 1965, but everything supporting it has been re-engineered around modern principles. Wider tracks front and rear, upgraded control arms, and a suspension geometry tuned specifically for the wide-body proportions allow this Corvette to corner with a confidence no original Stingray could ever have offered. Braking has been upgraded to match, with large multi-piston calipers biting down on vented rotors that bring this classic silhouette to a stop with real urgency. Power comes from a carefully built V8 delivering close to 500 horsepower, enough to make this wide-body Corvette a genuinely quick machine, not merely a beautiful one. The engine bay has been finished with the same obsessive attention to detail found throughout the rest of the car, blending polished modern components with styling cues that echo the Corvette's muscle car origins. Open the hood, and you find an engine that looks every bit as purposeful as it sounds, ready to send power through a driveline built to handle hard acceleration and hard cornering alike. Step inside, And the transformation continues in a completely different direction. Where the exterior celebrates aggressive performance styling, the cabin embraces bespoke luxury. Hand-stitched leather covers the seats, dash, and door panels, tailored with precision usually reserved for boutique coach builders rather than classic car restorations. Modern gauges are integrated discreetly into a dashboard that still nods to the original C2 layout, giving the driver a sense of familiarity even as every surface reveals craftsmanship the factory car never offered. Custom stitching, carefully selected trim materials, and thoughtfully placed modern conveniences come together to create an environment as special as the exterior promises. Behind the wheel, this Corvette delivers an experience few classic builds can match. The steering is sharp and immediate, a direct result of the modernized suspension geometry and the wider footprint from those enormous Michelin tires. Turn in, and the car responds instantly with none of the vague, floaty characteristics that often plague vintage sports cars. Under throttle, the V8 pulls hard, its exhaust note amplified through those chrome side pipes into something both nostalgic and thrilling. It is the kind of soundtrack that reminds you exactly why the Corvette became an American icon in the first place, even as the performance underneath tells a distinctly modern story. To truly appreciate what has been achieved here, it helps to understand where the C2 generation came from. When Chevrolet introduced the second-generation Corvette in 1963, it represented a dramatic leap forward for American sports cars, borrowing design language from European exotics while retaining unmistakable American muscle underneath. The split-window coupe and the elegant Stingray Roadster became instant icons, admired for their sculpted bodywork and aggressive stance. By 1967, the final year of the C2 generation, the design had been refined to near perfection with cleaner lines and a more purposeful presence that many enthusiasts consider the high point of the entire era. Building on a 1967-style body for this project was not an accident. It was a deliberate choice to start with what many consider the most beautifully resolved version of the C2 shape before pushing it even further. That is exactly the challenge this build set out to solve. Rather than preserving that shape in amber, the team behind this Corvette asked a different question. What if that celebrated design could be enhanced rather than merely maintained? What if the same proportions that captivated enthusiasts in the 1960s could be stretched, widened, and reinforced to accommodate technology that did not exist when the car was originally conceived? The result is a Corvette that still reads unmistakably as a C2 from 50 feet away, yet reveals layer after layer of thoughtful engineering the closer you look. What makes this build so remarkable is not simply the sum of its individual upgrades, but how seamlessly they work together. The wide-body styling, the handcrafted interior, the upgraded chassis, and the powerful V8 are not separate modifications bolted onto a classic shape. They feel like a single cohesive vision, as though this is the Corvette Chevrolet might have built if given decades of hindsight and an unlimited budget. Every choice, from the Megalodon badge to the turbine-style wheels, reinforces that vision rather than distracting from it. This is precisely why builds like this one capture the imagination of enthusiasts around the world. They prove that classic American performance cars do not have to remain static museum pieces, admired only from a distance and driven carefully around parking lots. With the right vision, the right craftsmanship, and genuine respect for the original design, a car like this Corvette can be transformed into something that honors its heritage while delivering performance and comfort that rival machines built decades later. It bridges two eras of automotive engineering, taking the emotional appeal of 1960s design and pairing it with the capability modern enthusiasts expect. Whether you are a lifelong Corvette fan or someone discovering the C2 generation for the first time, this wide-body build represents something special. It is proof that with imagination, skill, and a willingness to push boundaries, even the most iconic designs can be reinvented without losing what made them legendary in the first place. This is not just a Corvette. It is a statement about what classic American performance can become when given the freedom to evolve, wrapped in a body that still turns heads exactly the way it did back in 1967, and delivering a driving experience that feels ready for right now. Owning a car like this means living with a machine that rewards you every time you approach it. There's the visual drama of the wide-body stance and deep black paint catching the light, the tactile pleasure of hand-stitched leather beneath your fingertips, and the emotional payoff of hearing that V8 come alive through chrome side pipes. It is a car built not for static display but for genuine enjoyment, engineered to be driven hard and appreciated by anyone who understands what it takes to reimagine a legend without losing its soul. Few builds balance nostalgia and innovation this convincingly, and fewer still commit to this level of detail, from the Megalodon badge down to the tire sizing chosen to preserve that classic redline look. In the end, this wide-body Corvette stands as a tribute to the C2 generation, and a preview of what these cars can become in the right hands. It captures the spirit of 1967, while delivering performance that would embarrass many modern sports cars, proving why the Corvette remains one of America's most beloved and endlessly adaptable automotive icons.